Look at that. We're live, coming to you from the Comcast Xfinity connection now. Hopefully, this is looking all right. We've got somebody watching for sure. Um, I am excited about this. So, oh, good. I'm glad to hear it's nice and clear. Um, so, uh, show off a couple of things. Let me move over to my other window. So this is the graph, and I've got to figure out why Speedtest Tracker is not showing my actual speed, but it at least did show an increase in the upload speed. So that I'm happy with. Um, Ping has been better since it started doing tests again, and the jitter is um, a little better than it was under WoW. So, yeah, things are going all right. Um, let's see, I can get rid of that. I did peak through fast.com. I did peak at 1.1 gigabit download. I'm paying for 800. Shh, don't tell Comcast. Um, yeah, 23 megabit upload. I'll take it. 20 millisecond ping. Um, the download speed, according to Comcast themselves, is 937.8 and 23.4 up with a latency of 17 milliseconds, which is lower than what I'd been getting. And then on open speed test, I'm not sure if that was after I switched it or not. Let's run the test again just to be sure. And even there, we're hovering above 900, above 980. Um, I'm okay with this. I am a-okay with this. So, um, yeah. And the upload speed, although I'd love more, who wouldn't love more? It's certainly better than where it had been. So, um, color me happy. And OpenSense is reporting both an IPv4 and an IPv6 number. So I may have to experiment with some things a little bit more and see what happens there. But I am I am very happy with the way things are operating so far, and of course, this stream is just meant to be a test. I am not going to stay live longer than 30 minutes. Um, Unless I have a bunch of people pour in mysteriously that want to ask questions or engage in some way. Um, and then I might stay live a little bit longer. But um, things are going well at this moment. It took a little longer to get everything installed because they had to run from a pole in front of the building to the pole behind the building, and then from the pole behind the building to the building. So there's more coax run than uh, you would find in a lot of situations for a new install. But we will work with it, and the installer indicated, great guy by the way, installer indicated that as more customers sign up for Comcast in this area, they will likely bump the upload speeds, increase the upload speeds um, going forward. So I am very much looking forward to that. But so far, everything has been very stable. I am using the cable modem that I purchased last summer that would not work for whatever reason on WoW's system. My installer today, who said he had previous experience with WoW, indicated that they don't often send out people to replace lines that run from the pole to the building, and that there's a high likelihood that that could be where the issue was. So, um, the uh, the installer snipped their cable uh, from the outside, um, and pushed a new cable through. So I've got brand new coax. No reuse um, of the old stuff. And I am a happy camper. I am a happy camper. And so, excuse me. Um, yeah, that's what I really came on to say. I wanted to test this out and make sure that um, 1080p is happening for me again, finally. And this is just meant to be a little bit of a test and to prep for uh, the hardware Wednesday video that will be tomorrow night. Uh, Live stream tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern U.S. time. So yeah, everything is falling into place. And let's see, what do we have in chat? Um, Still crystal clear. Audio is better too. Interesting that the audio is better. I don't know what is really different with that. It could have just been the lag in the previous system. And TVJ is here. Thank you for stopping in. So yeah, we're rocking on the new connection. Everything is working as expected. Um, I wish it would have all happened yesterday, but that's all right. Took the day off from work, and yeah. Hello, David Grishko. Welcome. They probably compress the audio more and constrain bandwidth. That wouldn't surprise me. That wouldn't surprise me. So, but we'll, just for the sake of argument, OpenSense is showing low CPU usage, very low CPU usage. Memory's at 6% of 8 gigs. And it does, in fact, unlike my previous ISP, that I'm going to try not to name drop any further. Unlike the previous ISP, I am getting an IPv4 and an IPv6 address, and I will likely be making this private, so I'm not worried about people seeing that. So yeah, Speedtest Tracker. Like I mentioned a few minutes ago, I've got to figure out if I've got a slower switch somewhere. But it should be showing more than 94.1 megabit. Unless there's something in Speedtest Tracker that caps it at 100 megabit. And I'm not entirely sure. Anyway, yeah, things are going nicely at this point, and I'm happy. Let's see. Great. I'm glad everything is looking clear and sounding better. And um, wow, look at that. Yes. Go figure. 100 megabit switch report somewhere that could be, um, or a bad cable would do that potentially. Um, that looks like a different version of Speedtest Tracker. So yes, this is the version. Should put this back up on screen. This is the version that's being maintained currently. So there are two versions on GitHub. So Henry Whitaker was the original version, and Alex Justessen is the version I'm running currently. This has been updated. And it was actually updated yesterday. And there's cool things in this version, such as if you look at results, you can grab results and export them if you want to a CSV file. So there are also a few other niceties in here as well that make it a little better than the original version. So the link to that GitHub repository I can throw in chat. There we go. Quit notes because I didn't want it to launch in the first place. Let's see. Okay, David. The recap is that I did in fact get switched over to Xfinity today. Installer finished about 12:30 this afternoon. And everything seems to be looking pretty good. So the 20 megabit upload, yes, that is Comcast, but it's better than the 9 to 11 I was getting on previous ISP. So that is all right. It's an improvement. And since Comcast has only been in this area for less than a year, the installer indicated that as more people start subscribing in this area and getting hooked up, there is a high possibility that my upload speed is going to increase. So hopefully, knock on wood, that will be the case. But right now, there aren't too many on this block that are hooked up. Many people are still with WoW. But yeah, that's that. I would go with bad cable, maybe missing a pair. Yes, that's a good call there. I will do some troubleshooting after the stream. I can see the hairs in your beard. I feel so much closer to you now, almost like VR. I don't know about that. And Tony joined. Welcome. Thank you for popping in. Maybe there's a cable issue somewhere. Yep. I mean, on the pole side, right? At least it looks more stable. Yes, and I am very, very happy for that. Um, it's been a frustrating couple of weeks with the intermittent issues, and I'm just glad to be on something more stable now and something that I've got full control over. And yeah, the installer was nice. Um, doesn't live too far from here, actually, but unfortunately, he's like a couple of miles away from the final Comcast run, so he can't get he can't get Comcast in the place he's living at currently. Uh, so yeah, it's interesting, interesting, uh, but I'm very happy at this point. I think I mentioned bad corroded cable connections several streams ago. Just saying. Yeah. So the installer did indicate that my previous ISP is a bit. They've got a reputation for not wanting to replace their cables between the pole and a person's residence, and you know, um, their loss. It's their loss. If they had tried a little harder to make things right for me, then they would have kept a customer. Their loss. There's no other way to look at it in my eyes. Um, so yeah, uh, in any event, I'm happy. Things are stable. I'm using the cable modem I bought last summer that would not work reliably on the other ISP, and it was probably the cable all along that couldn't sustain the higher speeds. So yeah, um, I do not regret at all the switch, and you know, they'll learn sooner or later that maybe they need to up their game in customer service if they want to keep clients. Maybe I'm missing something. How do you install that Speedtest Tracker? It's Docker. It's a Docker container. Um, there is. Let me pop back over here. There is um, an install document right here. And you can install, make this a little bit bigger. You can install in Docker or Docker Compose on Synology, Unraid, or Kubernetes. So maybe once I bring the Synology back in this room, maybe I'll just put it on the Synology NAS, because that will have a 2.5, well, it'll have a 2.5 gig connection on the 10 gig card. So, um, a Comcast guy can't get Comcast. That is funny. Yeah, I saw a little bit of irony in that. And Heather stopped in. Hey, Heather. Hope things are going well for you. Um, I'm just testing out my new internet connection since I dumped one ISP for the Comcast. I surrendered to the dark side. Um, I swore I wouldn't do it, but the other company teed me off. We'll just say. So, um, yeah, um, things are looking up. Things are looking up. I'm much happier knowing that I could go into the live stream tomorrow night and have a solid picture and just be ready to do this. And yeah. And Terrell stopped in. Thank you. This was the acid test. I just wanted to make sure that this was going to move in a good direction. Yes, I did have. Wow. How did you guess? Their customer service leaves a bit to be desired. So, um, I don't know, Jay. It was right there in black and white, but anyways, yeah, I'll be interested to hear if you try out the new version, if you like it better or just what you think of it. Um, I I guess I first updated to this new version of Speedtest Tracker at the library. I don't know, a month or two ago, and then I rolled it out here at home. Um, so I'll have to check out that cable and see if things stabilize. Let's see. Terrell says I switched to Proxmox last night. Took me 2 hours to figure out how to pass through my SAS card. Oh boy. Um, well, at least you got it passed through. What, you didn't want to wait and test it in production? Oh boy. That's probably supposed to be sort of an inside joke. Um, no, I don't want to wait until I go live to tomorrow night to test this all out. But um, yeah, I do remember a place that did sometimes test things in production. um, oh, the good old days, right? Um, I missed one setting in the BIOS. Interesting. Do you know of a nice interface for internal speed tests other than iPerf? Um, actually, yes. There is. Let me switch to the other screen. Am I still connected to that server? Um, well, I don't remember the IP address off the top of my head. Give me just a moment here. And this one, I'll go to summary. 208. 208. Okay. Did I not have that on there? Maybe that's on my machine at work. There is a local speed test with a GUI. I thought I had that installed. I do not have that installed. Okay. Local test. There we go. That's not what I want. Open Speedtest server. So this is probably what you're looking for. Excuse me. Let's see. That's not what I want. Open speed test. So there is a Docker for open speed test for self-hosting. Why is that? I'll just link this article and you can read through that. So I guess I don't have it running here at home. I thought I did. We could spin it up. We could spin it up. Open speed test, port 80. Let's put that on port 8900. And we'll just spin this up locally. Because why not? The things I do for my fans. So 208, 8900. And so this is just running locally between the computer where I'm at and the Proxbox server that's running my VM with Docker on it. And this is interesting. Well, 1 millisecond ping. That's interesting. Do I have iPerf 3 on that? Well, I've got some more testing to do. Yep, I'm inclined to agree, David. 100 megabit port or a bad cable internally somewhere. I did move the server into the storage room, aka what used to be the extra bedroom. So it could have something to do with cabling between here and there. Like I said, I've got some additional testing to do. Yeah, I'm thinking so. So I will be doing some additional research and testing after this to see if I can narrow down where that bad cable might be. So not there. On the pfSense box, or OpenSense box rather, I have 2.5 gig showing on both the LAN and the WAN side. There is 2.5 gig to the modem. That was one of the reasons I bought this particular modem. And 2.5 gig switch. Um, so yeah, I'm gonna have to play with this and see. All right. Terrell says my installs of Linux default to 100 meg connection. I have to go in and manually set speed. I will go in and double check that. Um, I will for sure go in and double check that. So and I'm does that mean on virtualization or yeah. Now, I've had default installs of Ubuntu on physical hardware, not in virtualization, with no issues. Um, no issues getting full connection speed. My initial testing that I did when the installer was here, I had my ThinkPad hooked directly to the modem, and I was flying through that, and that's running an Ubuntu 24.04 LTS daily preview image. So, um, yeah. In a virtualized environment, the number means nothing. It could say 1 gigabit, but uh, but to host and intra host, it will go way past that. VM to VM communication will max out into the gigabits. Yep, yep, that's what I've seen. Um, but yeah, well, I guess there's another way we could test this. There's another way we could test this. Uh, Let me see. Well, let's see. Getting my fingers all twisted up trying to keep keyboard shortcuts straight. 227. That might work. So, is it not that one? Well, I don't have that installed on there. No. Let's see. Rogers. Let's go Southfield 56830. Just for grins. Interesting. Okay, so if it's a virtual NIC, it doesn't really matter. The host does, yes. So this is logged in directly to Proxmox. What other machines do I have on the network currently? Okay. So I don't think I've got anything else running. that's not running Proxmox because I've taken a number of machines down temporarily as I was prepping for this install to happen. Just curious if this is going to do the same thing. Yeah, 90.74. Okay, so that's consistent across pretty much all the Proxmox machines. So, if I do it on my Mac here locally, then I'm getting in the neighborhood of what I should be getting. And of course, it's going to be a little lower because I'm streaming right now on the upload, so I'm not terribly worried about that. But so yeah, it's either a Proxmox thing or a virtualized network card thing. But I'll dig into it a little bit and see what I might figure out concerning that. So, all right, we've gone 38 minutes now, and I'd only intended to go 30. Are there any final thoughts? Is it me or does the screen share quality look bad? Interesting. That's switched through the ATEM. So I can also switch to sharing the screen this way through StreamYard. And is that any better or worse? Maybe. Yeah. Anyway, so we'll take that off and make me full screen again. I suspect the speed test we're having an issue as well. So, or having an impact. Round and round. That's definitely an inside joke. Um, Screen quality, share quality seems to go in and out for me. Yeah, looks, sounds right. Looks a lot better. StreamYard is going to be much better. Because it's not coming in webcam channel. Ah, okay. Right. um, that's what I do not like about StreamYard. It compresses video for no reason, even if bandwidth is available. It will up the bit rate for a screen share, though. Well, if the ATEM is coming in via webcam, then yeah, it would look bad. All right. Well, I'm not streaming directly through the ATEM, so yes, I guess if that means that it's coming webcam, then that's what it's doing. Um, so, uh, but I mean, I suppose I could figure out if there's a way to hook the Sony camera up via USB, and I mean, but even then, that would technically be webcam. Um, I don't know. If somebody has the magic solution to this dilemma that doesn't require me to go back to using OBS for everything, um, or um, only allows streaming through the ATEM and no guests or whatnot, then I'm open to looking at other solutions. But I've always sort of viewed the live streams as being more of a fun thing, and um, yeah, I don't worry quite as much about it. Um, just screen share through StreamYard and cams through ATEM, you'll be fine. Okay. All right, that's what I'll do in the future then. That's that's what I'll do in the future. So I guess I don't need to eat up an input on the ATEM for the Mac direct in then. Direct stream from ATEM is OBS would be better for text. All right. All right. Last call for questions or comments. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap this up and get back to my housework. Um, since I took the day off for this Comcast install, I need to make the best of it and try to get a few more things done here. And then I've got a meetup that I've got to be part of tonight at 7, I think. Since I'm one of the people in charge of the local WordPress meetup, and listen to a former student of mine do a presentation on whether or not people actually own their website, because people are cheap and they want a website, and then they get a cheap website or through a cheap vendor, and the vendor keeps all the passwords and all the access to the domain and all this fun stuff, and then when they want to part ways, they're up the proverbial creek without a paddle, and it doesn't turn out well. So No, meetup is not a new term for date. Meetup is referring to meetup.com. Um, so yeah, just to answer that question. um, so yeah, this is uh, it'll be an interesting presentation. It'll be an interesting presentation. I suspect we're not going to have a huge turnout tonight. The meetup.com is showing 5 attendees, which is probably going to be the hosts, the organizers, and potentially 1 or 2 more people. But ever since the plague, the meetings have not really rebounded. So, of course, we are still doing virtual meetings, and a lot of people got fed up with those the during the pandemic, and probably this summer we'll be going to in-person meetings again, and maybe that will see some people return. But a lot of people join. A lot of people join the group on meetup.com, but then they never show up to the virtual meetings. And so we keep weeding them out and deleting them. I thought you kids had a new word for dating. Us kids? Am I not older than you, Heather? I mean, after all, you ladies stop counting your age at 29, so I'm far past 29. WordPress meeting. Fun. Yeah. I've actually attempted to step down from my leadership role in the group, but they somehow roped me into staying. But it's all good. It's all good. Usually I walk away with some new little tidbit of information. Do you have a way to see what IP address a Docker gets? I am trying to use that Speedtest Tracker but can't find the IP address. So let's see. Let me bring this back up here and hide that. And we'll push that closer to full screen. So demo. If you do Docker PS on the host that has Docker installed, it provided you're configured for basically bridged networking. I think they call it something else in the Docker world. I'm still in multipass mode answering questions for that, but it's usually just the host IP address and then whatever port number you assign to it. So I don't know if that's any help or not. Let's see. Let's come back to me full screen. You're not older than me. Pretty sure you were quite younger than me. I guess that's possible. You would have had access to my HR records at our mutual former employer, so you would know for sure. I'm not going to question. uh, I'm not going to question. Yeah, you have to map ports. You don't access the IP of the Docker VM itself. Right. I've got a year on you. I graduated in 92. So I guess barely older than you. What am I? Well, I guess another person that works at that former employer. He's only 6 months younger than I am, and he also graduated in 93. Yep. I think in my bedroom I've still got my student ID from high school that shows 92 as my graduation year. I could go grab my high school diploma if it really if it make you feel any better. So, um, yeah, I graduated in 92. So, all right, people. Thank you all for stopping in. This was fun. Um, I suppose I could hang out for another 8 minutes and 6 seconds and hit the one JAU mark on this, just for the sake of doing it. Um, well, dang, I was sure you were at least 5 years younger. Great to see your face. Well, thank you. Um, yeah, quick test stream. Well, when Joe ropes me into going to at least 2 hours when I do my normal streams, an hour is quick, right? Sorry, I'm not used to Docker. It honestly confuses me at times. Jay, I've been using Docker on and off for 3-ish years, and it still confuses me sometimes. It still confuses me sometimes. It's it's interesting, and you consider that I've been doing I've been messing with virtualization for shoot 24 years now, 23 years now at least. Um, because I started testing VMware when the product was just called VMware. So basically, what is now VMware Workstation. But once upon a time, in a galaxy far, far away, VMware, in its an initial incarnation, did not run on top of Windows. So again, we're talking the workstation product. Um, and I was testing this on top of an early Linux install that I had, and just for grins, okay, so maybe it's closer to 25 years. The company, VMware, the company, was launched officially early in. Uh, Company was launched officially early in the second year in February 1999 at the demo conference organized by Chris Shipley. The first product, VMware Workstation, and it may have even been in beta when I first put my fingers on it. Um, Delivered in May 1999. And the company entered the server market in 2001 with the GSX and ESX lines. So, yeah. June 1999 was 1.0 of VMware. So, doggone near 25 years. Um, Docker for me is much newer and still irritating at times. I guess you could say. I guess you could say. Docker Compose greater than Docker, yes. Don't blame me, I am no longer requesting JAUs. Oh, did the website idea fizzle too, Joe? Docker Compose is easier to visually see the and update in the YAML format than mess with executing Docker directly. Oh, absolutely. And the web front end I've been using lately, from the same guy that makes Uptime Kuma, ironically enough, I suppose. Um, Doc Dockage, or he says it's supposed to be pronounced like Dodge, but I can't do it. Anyways, this has a cool feature where you can paste in um, a Docker command line and it will convert it to a Docker Compose. So that's kind of slick for me, anyways. Um, so yeah, I'm honestly liking this and finding it more straightforward than using Yacht or Portainer. So, but yeah, this is what I've been using lately. Uh, I'm using Docker Compose because yeah, YAML files are easier to read. Absolutely. Hey, I got it to work. The new speed test. Awesome. Once you go containerizing things, there's no going back. No more dealing with installing something and have it not distro compatible. Yeah. Um, I've been doing a Debian VM with Docker installed and then containers on top of that. Um, and I like what it does, what it's capable of. And the part that I don't like is just the fact that I'm not yet, the optimal word here being yet, I am not yet as comfortable with running Docker and in backing up Docker in such a fashion that I can restore it. So I like having that little bit of extra there using a VM to run underneath Docker and being able to back that up. Oh, yeah. Being able to back that up um, just using um, Proxmox backup server and just have it automatically back up in the background. So that's just me. Um, that is my setup exactly. Okay, well, hey, great minds think alike, right? Great minds think alike. It's a perfect setup for me. Yeah. Once I am more comfortable with Docker, I might try, doing an install of Debian on bare metal and Docker on top, and just run a monthly image backup using Clonezilla or RescueZilla or some such thing instead of having the extra layer for the VM. But right now, I'm okay with the setup I've got, and other than testing it occasionally on bare metal, I'm not 100% there yet with leaving it there. So, and David's here. Uh, Hopefully, nobody was injured in that incident in the Bronx yesterday. But welcome. Let's see. Nope, nope, nope. Don't do that. Um, I get it. Just have worries about security. Yeah. Backing up things is also a concern. Yeah. And yeah, like I said, Jay, and you make a good point. I love being able to take a snapshot of a virtual machine. Um, I do accommodate a combination of snapshots on the VM host and then um, running Proxmox backup server as well. And so I've got the layers there just to cover me in case of a disaster of any sort. As long as you map volumes properly, backing up and restoring them is as straightforward as a regular VM. I'm glad to hear that. I only know like two residents in the state of New York. So, whenever there's something like this going on, I try to check in with them if I'm able and make sure that, it's not a direct impact. Let's see. The container is something that can be blown away and deleted as long as you have the compose file and map the data, then it just starts right up, irrespective where. As long as it can run containers. Absolutely. Podman, Docker, etc. For Kubernetes, it's a bit different. Yeah, Kubernetes is a whole beast that I have not touched yet. I bought a book, but I have not actually touched Kubernetes yet. Maybe a great topic for a video. Yes. Can you rename Docker Compose YAML to speedtest.yaml and have it still work? Um, that's a good question. Maybe David knows the answer. Um, so, from the tutorials I've followed, um, I normally have a Docker folder and then a subfolder or directory, I guess, to use Unixy terminology, a directory for each um, container. So, like in this case, you might have an Uptime Kuma directory, and then inside that directory, you can have subdirectories for any volumes that you need to map. So it's all a nice self-contained little unit. Um, Other people have other ways of doing things, but this follows the tutorials that I've used to try to get somewhat up to speed in Docker. I'm not comfortable enough with it to, run it professionally in any, larger organization. At the library, normally the Docker containers I spin up, I'm the only one that uses them, so it doesn't really matter. Uptime Kuma, Speedtest Tracker, things of that nature. My boss and coworkers are never going to look at any of that stuff. Let's just call it what it is. They're never going to look at any of that stuff. Um, and they won't be any the wiser. So if it implodes upon itself, then the only one it impacts is me. And like we've all said, they're easy to set back up, and relatively quick to set back up. So um, yes, but you'll need to specifically name it with the -F option. I drive through the Bronx back and forth to work every day. I need to go in, but on the highway and quickly. One of the highest crime areas in New York. Yeah, I. That's what the news tells us. I've never been, so I wouldn't know. But yeah, um, there have been a lot of sitcoms that have taken place, supposedly taken place in the Bronx over the years, but they don't always portray things in sitcoms and the best light, shall we say. Only 45 days of driving in left. Right on. So, uh, I guess I'll have to get you on and do a new set of interviews with you post that after that 45 days is over, and you've had some recovery time, um, and before your significant other hits you with the honey-do list. That's the length of your arm. So, but we'll get you on. We'll at some point we'll do a new set of interviews, and uh, we can talk about what's next, what's in store for PE for doers going forward. Um, Once you start a Docker, it will it auto start after boot. 107 calendar days, however. Yeah, I get you. 45 working days. That's all right. We'll get you on at some point after that final day, and you've had a chance to breathe. As long as you have restart always set, and then do Docker compose up -D. Yep. Or if you've renamed the file, Docker compose -F speedtest.yaml up -D. I am really backed up on videos, have the parts, equipment, but no time to make the videos. I've had the time, but I haven't had the patience with the internet issues. But I suppose I can slide this back over here. I have I have the list of things that I want to make into videos. Um, but yeah, it's been kind of slow going with the crazy internet problems, and now that should be resolved. Hello, Cyberdyne 981, watching from Canada. Well, welcome. First off, I think you make at least number 3 of people watching from the Great White North. Jason's not here today, but Jason from Jason's Lab often pops in. So welcome. Glad you joined us. This is, as you probably guessed by the thumbnail, this is just sort of a test stream. I got a different internet provider today, and making sure that everything is coming through clearly, because I normally do live streams Sunday, Wednesday, and Friday at 9:30 p.m. So this is kind of odd for doing it in the afternoon. But thank you for stopping in. Appreciate that very much. I'm now running Speedtest and Uptime Kuma. These are great tools for me to use at work. Glad to hear it, Jay. I actually use both of them at the library, so and I think at least one of them, I think the Speedtest Tracker, I found out about at the library because we were having internet issues there with a previous ISP. So, and yes, everybody, please hit like. And for anybody that's not aware, my last name is pronounced like as well. I'm always kind of curious to see if YouTube is going to penalize me for saying my last name too many times, because it's phonetically the same as the button that you hit. Let's see. Our snow is almost melted near Ottawa and Ontario. Nova Scotia has too much snow. Glad to finally join a live stream. I'm glad to hear it. I appreciate each and every person that stops into the live stream or watches my pre-recorded stuff or watches the live streams on replay. It's every little bit helps the channel and helps me to push things forward. And as you can potentially see on this list behind me, I've definitely got a bunch of topics that I want to get to throughout the course of the spring. And yeah. You should probably keep this stream up, or will it go private? Considering that I'm up to 10 people watching right now, I'll probably just leave this one up. This is if I would have cut it at 30 minutes like the initial plan called for, then yeah, I probably would have taken that private. But since this has gone on past what I had initially expected, I think I'll leave this one up. I may just change the thumbnail out on it and add to the description a bit, because we got into talking about Docker and different things as well, and people may find some value in that after the fact. I had a crazy router problem 20 years ago that took me weeks to troubleshoot. Turned out it was a bad RJ45 driver that worked fine until it heated up for 20 minutes. Would then mangle packets. Wow. I have not had an issue like that. The issue I've mentioned a time or two that on a consulting gig I went out on, and this was, I don't know, somewhere between 2015 and 2017. Went out, and it was a call center business, and it turned out they still had a hub, a 10100 hub in place that an electronics recycler had slapped a sticker on and called it a switch and sold it to them, probably for more money than it was worth at the time even. So I might have to convert one of my VM hosts to a physical install and run Docker. That would be interesting. Yeah. The Docker talk has helped me. I'm glad. So I guess this turned into something valuable beyond just me testing things out a bit. I'm still thinking about a live stream on my last day of work, maybe 5 p.m. to whatever, Friday, May 31st. All right. Well, if you schedule it in advance, then I'll either not go live that night at 9:30 or um, do something different. Or maybe we can go from your stream and send them over to my stream or whatever. we'll, we'll chat. Let's see. There's nothing wrong with running Docker in a VM. After all, containers share the kernel with the host. Yep. It should be done by 9:30. And I missed this one, just my opinion. Very good. All right, we're an hour and 15 minutes in. Any other questions, concerns, suggestions? Holy crow. So, as I mentioned on other streams, I am now using Fresh RSS to gather my news in preparation for midweek news. And since I last looked at my list, there are 185 new news items that I need to weed through so that I can record the video that will come out tomorrow morning, which is the other thing on my to-do list for tonight, besides finishing up some laundry and other household cleaning and whatnot. So, but yeah, that's I'll be going through that and possibly running to the grocery store to pick up a few things before my meeting at 7. And then after the meeting concludes, I'll record midweek news for release tomorrow morning. And that'll be my night. Always something going on around here. Single life doesn't have to be dull. So let's catch up with chat and then we will wrap things up so I can get a couple things done and make sure that midweek news is done for tomorrow morning. So let's see. A pass the baton would be fun. I think so as well. We had gear in the CN Tower in Toronto that failed random days every hour. Turned out to be thermal as the revolving pod rotated every hour on hot sunny days. Crazy to diagnose. I can only imagine. And I'll say I've only been to Toronto once in my life, and that was too long ago to admit. It was before we needed the enhanced, we Americans needed the enhanced driver's license to be able to cross over. Fresh RSS is awesome. Yes, I've been quite enjoying it. I had tried RSS several times in the past. The previous thing I was running was a desktop RSS reader called Raven RSS. I think is the name of it. Which it's a cross-platform app. It was nice enough, but I didn't stick with it. Fresh RSS I got into based on a video I saw, I think by Awesome Open Source, from the Awesome Open Source channel. And my reason for doing this was to reduce the amount of time it took me to put together midweek news. Just streamlining things to go forward. Good luck getting your internet back to solid reliability. So far, so good. Since 12:30 this afternoon when the installer left, it's been pretty solid. I just need to figure out if I've got an internal problem, which is causing the speed test when run from my Proxmox server to not show proper speeds. So I've got I've got a couple of physical machines I can spin back up and do some additional testing from there, and then I'll be testing cabling and whatnot um, throughout the rest of this week to try to pinpoint any issue. All right, Jay, I will see you later. And I think with that, I think I'll wrap up and get some work done here. And we'll be back tomorrow in the morning for midweek news, and tomorrow night at 9:30 Eastern U.S. time for our hardware-centric Wednesday. And I've got a couple of ideas up my sleeve for that. So stay tuned. I will be scheduling that hopefully tonight and have the thumbnail up and maybe even a trailer video. So on that note, and Joe slips in the final comment, glad to have you back in HD. Well, I still maintain I've got a face for radio, but you can't explain Docker and other Linuxy things on the radio so well. So you're stuck looking at my bald dome. And even though I still maintain that here in the U.S. you're protected from such torture, cruel and unusual punishment and all, but that's just my 2 cents worth. And on that note, enjoy the rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow. Hope you'll all come in and join us and bring some questions, and we'll have a good time. Talk to you later.